the international community gathering in New York City for the next week and a half.
Yeah, busy time of year. The UN General Assembly opened its 77th session yesterday. Deputy to the Ambassador, Jeff Prescott, here this morning to tell us about the United States, what the United States hopes to accomplish in this annual gathering.
So good morning to you.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Glad to have you. So what tops the U.S. agenda at this point? What do we really want out of this UN General Assembly this year?
Well, look, it's a great opportunity, as with every year, for the world's leaders to come to New York to show off what's best about the United States, to show off New York City. But we're really going to be rolling up our sleeves and trying to get some business done. Food security is a major issue all around the world. It's been exacerbated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We've been trying to rally the world to help. The American taxpayer has been very generous in providing billions in emergency assistance to those on the brink of starvation all over the world, including in Africa, including in parts of the Middle East. And we've been trying to use diplomacy to get the rest of the world to step up with us and try to address that crisis. So you're going to see a real focus on that during the course of the next week. Also, public health. We're coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, but the rest of the world is still struggling. Some areas really need help with vaccines, with other life-saving interventions. And we're trying to make sure that not only are we addressing this pandemic, we're building the foundation to prevent future pandemics. And that involves getting the world together. That involves the Global Fund to fight AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, getting together to replenish its fund to do its life-saving work around the world. And then finally, getting back to the foundation of the United Nations system, the UN Charter. Countries should not be able to invade another country to change borders by force. We've obviously seen that with Russia and Ukraine. We see that in other conflicts around the world. And what we want to do is rally the world to stand up for those fundamental principles and to make sure that we're condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And you've seen 141 members of the United Nations rallied by the United States and our allies to do just that.
Yeah,
we're going to continue to put that pressure on.
Certainly just covered a couple of our questions there, including, whether or not you were going to call for the end of the war. It sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. But what can the U.S. possibly do to stop Iran, right, from developing nuclear weapons? That's a big topic. Even if they agree to, say, this 10-year halt that's been talked about in order to get their assets unfrozen, in 10 years they'll be able to develop their nuclear capabilities. So how is that being addressed?
Well, the president has been very clear that the United States will not allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. We have been engaged in intensive negotiations to try to get back to a diplomatic arrangement. There really is not a military solution to a crisis like this. Diplomacy is needed, but we're not going to enter a deal unless it is in the interests of the United States and the American people. We've seen that diplomacy take a step back. Iran has not accepted a very good offer that's on the table. They've made additional demands that we think are unreasonable, and so we'll have to see how that diplomacy plays out. I think you'll see, as you have over the last year, our European allies, our closest allies around the world, with us, unified in pushing back against what Iran is doing with its nuclear program and in other crises around the world. We're going to continue to rally our closest allies and partners around the world to make sure that we are speaking with one voice.
Yeah, Mr. Prescott, let's change gears a little bit. Climate, it's a crucial element in the American agenda right now. So what's the plan to get other nations on board to cut carbon emissions?
Well, it's a very good question. I think climate is going to be at the top of the agenda next week as well. The United Nations, of course, has been the forum where we have been gathering the world's leaders to try to make commitments to address this global crisis. Yesterday I was with the president at the White House to celebrate the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. The biggest commitment to addressing climate in terms of putting resources to it of any country in history, in the world. The United States is really stepping up with major leadership on this issue. That's going to help us be more resilient at home. But that kind of investment here helps us rally the rest of the world as well. So you'll see Special Envoy John Kerry in New York. You'll see Secretary Tony Blinken, our Secretary of State. You'll see the President of the United States all engaged on this issue over the course of the week.
So, I hear what you're saying there in terms of the climate change, and it's great the U.S. is doing their part, right? But yeah, rallying the rest of the world, how do you create a climate change plan that, say, is fair to developing countries, right, that need energy to develop?
Well, you're putting your finger on the heart of the matter, which is why this requires a global solution. Now, we have rallied the world at the COP, the meeting where the world gets together and talks about each country's commitments to address this crisis, that is facing some headwinds. Obviously, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has also put a sharpened focus on energy prices in Europe, energy prices around the world, and we're going to have to address that at the same time. But the United States has really stepped up and is making the investments that's going to be necessary to address the crisis here. And we're going to use that as leverage to help get the rest of the world to step up. And that involves helping countries that are on the receiving end of extreme weather, of a real crisis caused by global warming, and to get them the relief that they need as well.
Yeah, so many important issues on the table this week. Jeff Prescott, Deputy to the Ambassador to the UN, thank you so much for being with us this morning.